Welcome to the INNOTECH Podcast, your gateway to fresh insights, innovative practices, and transformative ideas for education in Southeast Asia. I am Rafa of SEAMEO INNOTECH, and today we are diving into the world of creativity and digital empowerment. Episode, we are thrilled to feature a powerful tool that is reshaping how teachers, learners, and content creators bring ideas to life, the Adobe Express. And joining us today is someone who has been at the forefront of advocating for creativity in education, Mr. 𝗘𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀 from Adobe. Mr. 𝗘𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀 is an economist by training and spent his early years in public service and investment banking before making a career switch midway into the creative and technology space. As an Adobe pre-sales solutions consultant, Mr. goes to these customers' businesses and proposes solutions from within Adobe's creative arsenal to help them meet strategic objectives, alleviate pain points, and keep the best returns from their Adobe investments. To tell us more about these innovations is Mr. 𝗘𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here. And I can't wait to share how Adobe Express can be an exciting tool for educators and students alike to spark their creative journey, right, and learn critical thinking skills as well.
Right. We're so excited to have you and learn more about these software, sir. Especially nowadays that I think it's inevitable that teachers use technology every single day in their classroom. So let's start with the basics. So Adobe Express has been gaining traction among teachers and students. And for those who might be new to it, sir, how would you describe Adobe Express?
Well, Adobe Express really is a browser-based tool that's built from the ground up for individuals and users who are new to the creative design process. People who have not done any kind of graphic design, or any kind of video production before. And such people would be, for example, new students, young students, right, who are just on the cusp of testing out the boundaries and pushing the boundaries of their imagination, but also for non-creative professionals, people who are adults but in fields like in business, science, for example, mathematics, different types of fields that are not inherently creative in nature as a mainstay. So Adobe's is very known for its creative tools and softwares, right? Like Photoshop, Illustrator, that's the space that we've occupied. But we feel that we have a bigger role to play, right? And Adobe Express would be the solution that could help spark, that. And it starts off with the learning people in schools today.
I see, yeah. So you've mentioned that usually it's the creative professionals that use the Adobe software. So some teachers, I would think, might be a little intimidated with just hearing Adobe Express. But what do you think would be the most valuable features or distinct features for teachers when they use Adobe Express?
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned, right? I suppose in some ways, because of the word Adobe, it's associated with Photoshop. And Photoshop is associated with, being a really powerful photographic and image manipulation tool. So the immediate expectation is that it's going to be complicated. But, nothing could be further from the truth for Adobe Express. Because, you asked about features, and one of the favorite features that people have loved about Adobe Express, for example, could be the template generation feature. So for example, Adobe Express actually harnesses generative AI, right? So generative AI solution at Adobe is called Adobe Firefly, okay? And essentially generative AI is a tool where users will put in a text prompt and they'll be able to get an output, right? Be it an answer, a text answer, or any kind of thing. But for Adobe's context, a text prompt generates an image, a video, or maybe an audio output, right? And in this case, one of the favorite features of Adobe Express would be to generate an entire design from scratch just by entering a text prompt. It serves as a template that then the user can go on and customize based on that initial design. So generative AI and Adobe Express really gives the user, or a non-graphically trained user, a leg up in getting them from 0% all the way maybe halfway through, 50% of the way there, as opposed to the traditional way, which is to stare at a blank canvas, right, from scratch, and being a little bit overwhelmed and not knowing where to begin from when trying to create something new, for example.
That's very helpful, sir, because teachers have a lot on their plates. So being able to start with something already and not with a blank slate is, I think, very helpful. And you've mentioned Adobe Firefly, the AI that's integrated in the system. But sir, we've also been hearing the importance of responsibly using AI, especially in education. So how does Adobe do this?
Okay, so Adobe Firefly is really unique from many other generative AI platforms out there. First and foremost, it is designed to be commercially safe. And so what I mean by that is that it's training, every large language model is trained on a data set, right? For Adobe Firefly, its data set is Adobe stock primarily. That's basically a database of about nearly 450 million high quality image and video assets, right? Designed to be licensed out as a stock content. And so what we have done is we've trained Adobe Firefly on that stock content, and because it's meant to be used for commercial purposes, there will not be any kind of IP protected content embedded within that training set, right? There will not be any kind of violent content, I think gore, for example, or any kind of content of an explicit nature, anything that doesn't have any place to do whatsoever in the education realm. And particularly when we're talking about education for young students, this is particularly going to be a really critical consideration, right? So using Adobe Firefly, it will not be possible to generate any kind of what I like to call NSFW, not safe for work content, right? So I think the students teachers can feel that they are in a very safe space when using generative AI like that. I can't say the same for many other generative AI solutions out there, right?
That's good to hear. So the content is curated in a way already.
Yes, that's right.
It's curated, and at the same time, because it's if I understand it correctly, it's exclusive to Adobe, right? The stock photos, videos, they are exclusive to Adobe.
Adobe Stock is a solution that we do sell commercially, right? But it's also being used as a data set to train Adobe Firefly. But on top of that, Adobe Firefly also promotes content transparency because there is a technology called content credentials, right? Which is essentially encrypted metadata that's embedded in every content that is generated from Adobe Firefly or any kind of content that is licensed and downloaded from Adobe Stock, right? What that serves as is like a nutritional label for any kind of piece of content, so that ultimately, when it is published on a website or put on social media itself, that encrypted metadata would serve as like an audit trail to inform users or viewers or consumers of the content what part of the image was actually captured for real and what part of the image was generated using AI.
Oh, that's
right?
good.
Yeah, because, so we try to promote transparency because of that. Now, generative AI content inherently by itself isn't bad necessarily. It's only called into question when something is generated with AI but pretends to be captured for real. And that's where issues and problems arise.
Yes.
So Adobe's stance is we promote transparency, right? We provide the information for anyone who wants to see it, and ultimately we hope that content credentials, which is represented by a logo, will ultimately become as commonplace as the copyright symbol or the trademark symbol that is accepted everywhere else in the world. So this whole initiative is driven by the Content Authenticity Initiative, which I think right now has about 2,500 members from all over the world, including the major creative agencies, news agencies, publishers, and even professional camera producers like Canon, Nikon, and Leica. So you can have these content credentials embedded even at the point of photo taking. It's part of the hardware. Yeah.
That's great to hear, sir, because I think one of the key issues that teachers have about using generative AI is that students would tend to plagiarize and claim that they created the entire thing when actually AI assisted them.
Yes.
So since you've mentioned about these practices on the ground, sir, what have you observed so far? Have you talked to teachers, actual teachers, or what are some classroom practices that perhaps we can share that teachers would also find valuable for their classrooms?
Yeah. I mean, whenever Adobe brings up the topic of content credentials and CAI, which is Content Authenticity Initiative, it gets a lot of excitement from the teaching community, particularly because of this ability to provide transparency, and it gives the teachers the license, or how should I say, the go-ahead, right, to be able to have the confidence to use generative AI, and because they know that generative AI inherently in itself is a tool that can promote creative thinking, right? That can promote digital literacy, but it also can be abused, right?
Yes.
So where we come from is taking the middle ground to say, hey, as long as we provide transparency, and then the teachers can evaluate quite easily what skills and kind of capabilities the student has can demonstrate, right? And what was actually generated with generative AI, right? But even if things are generated with generative AI, I think the ability to use generative AI is going to become a core life skill in the future, right? Not just for creative purposes within Adobe's realm, but I mean, speaking more broadly, the likes of ChatGPT, for example, or Microsoft Copilot, and those productivity tools, but also including image creation, generative video creation from the Adobe's space itself. So that's going to be a life skill in the future, and I think it's more important to embrace it early, and I think impart these skills early and inculcate the critical and creative thinking from the young, very early on.
Yeah, I totally agree, sir. As I've mentioned a while ago, it's inevitable,
Yes.
right? And I think our choice right now is really just to maximize it and maximize it responsibly. And actually, we're very glad that we have you, sir, today sharing about all these things, because that will also help us here in INNOTECH inform our work as we train teachers and also sometimes students, because as you've said, the tool will be useless without the human prompting it. So
Yes.
there has to
Yes,
be
of
that
course.
that skill, in order to use AI productively.
Yeah. I think generative AI doesn't replace human imagination,
Yes.
right? Generative AI inherently, if you think about it, it is a technology that regurgitates and generates from what has already come. But human imagination is all about creating something that has not been created before, right? And so you always need human imagination to add to the pool of creative content. So there will always be a place for human imagination, and that's something that generative AI itself can help to inculcate, right?
That's great, sir. So, sir, to end this very interesting discussion, what would be your message to our teachers and even school leaders who will be listening to us?
Well, that essentially, I think you've heard me say it several times, but I really do think that being able to harness generative AI technology, right, will be a skill. I would maybe call it an essential life skill to a certain extent, because this technology is not going away anytime soon. But we need to be able to learn how to use it responsibly. And also, I think it is in the professional world work in progress, right? Right now, many companies are and many businesses are still trying to figure out how to harness the productivity promises that generative AI can hold, and they know it's there. It's just a question of how do you get and harness those productivity efficiencies. So it is going to become a life skill in the future. So for teachers and students, the earlier they embrace it, the earlier they use it, right, the better it's going to be. And Adobe Express, right, because Adobe Firefly is the most responsible AI out there, and Adobe Express is tied with Adobe Firefly. So my message would be, this is the perfect tool, and is the tool to be able to teach students how to incorporate, and harness generative AI as a productivity tool for their work, for their school assignments, right? And for the teachers to use it as a teaching platform to impart some of these life skills to the students.
Thank you, Sir 𝗘𝗍𝗿𝗂𝗏, for sharing your insights and for inspiring us to embrace the use of AI and integrate it to expand our creativity further. So thank you very much,
Sure,
sir.
no problem, of course. Happy to be here.
Thank you, sir. To our listeners, we hope today's conversations has sparked new ideas for your classrooms and projects. Don't forget to explore Adobe Express and see how it can transform your teaching and learning experience. Continue the conversation and let us know your feedback and comments, and please follow us in our social media sites flash on your screen. This has been Rafa for the INNOTECH Podcast. Until next time, let's keep learning and let's inspire innovations for better education.